Okay, welcome to my very first video. The reason why I started this channel was because I couldn't find any decent Crusader Kings 2 tutorials for beginners when I want to send to my friends that want to start playing the game. Everything was based off of really old versions, but for my first video I'm just going to do a little Let's Play of Game Dev Tycoon. It's a fun little game. Grabbed it on Steam. You can also get it from their webpage. And yeah, I played it twice now. I deleted my saves, but yeah, it's a fun game. First time I played it, I did what I think was fairly well. I messed around with a bunch of different kind of game types, and second time I played, I focused just on sims and actually killed it. Simulations became the biggest game category ever. But if you haven't played this game before, you don't know what it is, you pretend or you play as a game developer starting in the early 80s probably, and oh, maybe not early 80s, but starting in the 80s going up through the development of all the consoles, stopping pretty much with developing your own Steam machine. Game length is in-game is 35 years, and then it stops, computes your score, but you can keep going. So let's just try really quick. We're going to start. Okay. Before we can start, we have to give our company a name. And unfortunately, you can't see what game types, what genres are going to be available to you from the very beginning. I wish you could, because then I would go with something specific. But let's see. Maybe I always avoid the action games for some reason, so you can play along with me. We'll do action first. What's a good action game name for a game company? They do have kind of versions of a lot of different publishers in here already. I don't want to do like a Capcom or something like that. But old school action, let's just not be very creative and call it Action Games Unlimited. Oh, that's limited. Haha, funny. Well, then we'll do that. Okay. And our player name, we're just gonna be Drake Uppington. I don't know why I chose that, I just did. Drake's gonna wear a sweater, and let's go. Sweater vest, I guess. Okay, who bought the game? And all these achievements are gonna go again because I did delete my save. Okay, let's develop a new game before we can. Select all the different stuff. And I already know all this stuff from the tutorials because I played it before, so let's see what topics are available. We have mystery, martial arts, that's good for action, post-apocalyptic, and zombies. Let's start with a martial arts game. We're going to do action. The other options are adventure, RPG, simulation, and strategy. Let's do action. The platform, we're going to start with the Commodore ripoff because it is the most popular. And our first game for karate is going to be Karatekka. That's a play off of an old game. And we want graphics for text-based. You know, just for fun, I want to try text-based action karate games. This is probably not going to score very well. But I actually never used the text-based one in either of my playthroughs. Okay, we got 3 stages. We focus on what we want based on the type of game we're making. So, gameplay is going to be very important for karate. Unfortunately, engine would usually be probably pretty important for this as well. And just so I can show you, this kind of tells you what each thing does. So the engine provides basic building blocks. Gameplay is how we interact with the game. Storytelling will not come up much in an action game. Well, we're going to boost the engine because I think the game's going to look at that anyways. Take story all the way down. Basically, you want to focus mainly on 2 parts in each of these development stages. So these little bubbles go up. One goes to design, one goes to technology. Occasionally we get some research points as we're developing, which I just said. And generally, the higher the numbers, the better. And we're also going to make some bugs, which are the dark orange, which I always confuse with the dark yellow. Okay, we're going to focus on level design, artificial intelligence for those other karate things. Dialogue is going to be low. Our guys are going to be typing in Kick West for our text game here. But, you know, people are going to like that. Computers are still pretty young. You kicked a Gru, apparently. Okay, so we have different graphics and sounds. Graphics should be high, but we don't have any graphics. So I'm gonna. Sound shouldn't really be very high. We're gonna make a lot of world design, and once again, I'll show you little hints in here. Tells you what each thing does. Let's go back to stage 2. So dialogue is about interactions with NPCs and other storytelling. Level design, structures through the game. AI, obviously, is artificial intelligence. Our stage 2. Did I close that? I did. World design, basically the backstory to your game. It makes your game more sophisticated and believable, at least the story. Graphics, not always the most important part, but what you see, unless you're doing text-based. And sound. Sound is not often noticed. And actually, sound hardly played in any of my games, but it's going to play in this one. Okay. And we had some options on the side, and I'll show you those, but at the beginning, they're not really options. Okay, we're done with the game. Press finish, but our guy's going to keep working a little bit. Especially, he's going to get rid of bugs. But he's also going to throw a couple more points into like technology design. So you can always wait a little longer, polish up the game. If you wait too long, or even now, he might throw some more bugs in. Oh, we got technology at the end. So a high-tech, low-design, text-based karate game, Karatekka. Okay, and here's how experience is done. You get bonuses, mostly for new topics and new combos later on. You can get a bonus for being a good leader for your team. I didn't even notice that until the very end of my last game. I haven't read the wiki a bunch, only when I got confused on something. So I don't really know like a lot of the basics for how this game does stuff. I did check on one of the scoring things just because it kind of warned me, hey, this is a little weird. But we're going to leave that in the background. We can release our game or trash it. Let's just release it and see what happens. Woohoo! We picked a good topic and genre combination. Our game is complete. And we're going to post it online. Okay. And we're going to wait a second. Our game reviews come in. Okay. We're going to get some middle scores. So they're all going to stay within about 1 point of each other. I think I saw once one place really loved the game and jumped it up to 7 where everyone else thought it was 5s. Have seen better, yeah. And unfortunately, one of the bad things about this game, Game Dev, is there's just not a lot of options. You see the exact same reviewing magazines, whatever, and you see the exact same quotes every time, pretty much for every number. Okay, so we can analyze our game, get some more research points, and learn some stuff. And the game will kind of help us keep track of that a little bit too. So we're gonna, now we can click anywhere. Later on we have to click on our guy. It's a moderate response, but we're on the map. So, generate a game report. This is always a good idea, even when you kind of know already. It's going to tell you what genres work together, other focuses. But what we're going to do, every time you do that, you're going to get some research points, especially if you have a guy that does a lot of research. When you hire people later, it might be good just to do that to get the points. Wow, we sold almost 4,000 and we came in at number 72. There wasn't even 100 gaming companies in year 1. And we can look at the sales graph. So they're going to trickle in there. There's no pause in this game, except for when you just click somewhere. Got 24 fans of our game. But, you know, each month we're going to get results. And here's our game report. We got martial arts and action's a great combination, of course. World design seems to be not very important. We did a lot of world design on this. And that's another shame. You kind of have already the game determines what's good for you, so you can't go off and make like an action game that has huge world development. No one's gonna like that. Game reports, yeah, research, insights. Okay, so that's gonna come in. We can wait here. I'm gonna pause it just by clicking. But it's usually best to develop a new game because there's costs, and we might as well just keep on developing. So, or we can research. And actually, let's do that. We're going to research and see what other topics we can get, because that's about all we can do right now. Or we can start our, actually, we don't have enough research points. So we're going to do a new topic. Ooh, time travel action game, sports action, always good. Military action, medieval action. I mean, you can do action with just about everything. We could be known as the sports gaming company. Not very interesting, but that's another thing. You don't know what sort of research is going to be available to you at the beginning, topic-wise. You can't get new ones until you research more. You have to keep on doing that, which is a bit of a shame. So you're kind of stuck with what you start with. Hey, sales company record with 10,000. What an important milestone. Okay, let's develop a new game. We're going to pick a topic. I like picking the topic first. Let's do a sports game because we want to do different mixtures. If we're going to do it with action, we're going to have to pick a different topic every time. We want to focus on being the action gaming company. We're going to stick with the G64. And what kind of game should we do? Let's do a baseball game. And let's do a playoff of RBI, but let's do instead of runs batted in, let's do well, see, I just forgot all my baseball statistic kind of things. What is it? Whips? That's before this time, but yeah, let's do whips as our game title. This time we're gonna have graphics. Excuse me for the sniff. I got a little bit of congestion going on. Okay. Gameplay high, engine high. Our guy's going to be focusing on this, leveling it up. And unfortunately, we're not going to have a whole lot of story and quests in our game. So it'd be great to make kind of a... And I guess later we can do an RPG baseball game if we wanted to, and that would require story and quests. It's just action games, can't have story and quests, not very important. And I'm assuming this. I've only done like 2 action games, but kind of get a feel for this. Karatekka is off the market, and it did fairly good for us. Okay, dialogue down, artificial intelligence level design. You know, let's be known for the game with a lot of artificial intelligence. Man, that computer is hard to beat, and he almost knows exactly what you're thinking. You definitely do not want to be playing the Expos or whoever happens to be bad at this time. Game reports. Yeah, we already... Oh, that's right. So it's going to kind of tell us underneath when we do similar stuff, kind of, hey, world design is not important in action games, but it doesn't know if it isn't for sports games. I can tell you right now it's not. Graphics are almost always going to be the most important. Sound hardly ever matters. Though surprisingly, it matters quite a bit in sim games, which I didn't quite get. All my sim games don't seem to have a whole lot of, not really known for their sound, but I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, I'm playing the wrong ones. I never bought any of the DLC sound packs for Crusader Kings. Maybe I should go do that. So we have 2D graphics as our only option, and basic sounds is our only option, so we will do that. As you can see, there was kind of, it showed you this is how much time you're spending on each aspect of the game. So you put them all at the very top, but it's still going to just split them evenly. As far as I know, I don't think you develop longer because of that. Okay. G64 is outselling everybody. They love how cheap it is and flexible. And PC is just going to fall off the map. Experts know everything. Okay, so more bugs, beat them. You know, that's well balanced for an action game, if you ask me. Let's stick with it. So, new topic, new combo. We get bonus star XP, which is very important. We want to level up. I kind of like just developing by myself, but the problem is you really kind of do have to have employees eventually, and if you don't get them at the beginning, it's hard to level them up. You got to wait until you get later, you can buy better employees. Okay, let's release whips. Whips came in. The reviews. Oh, this is looking good. Stick up there. Go. 8. And that's going to be just fine. 8s are really good in this game, or looks like it's going to be 7.5 by the time we're done with this. Maybe 7.75? Nope. Okay. So, but they're going to like this. They're going to say, hey, you know what? Sports, action games are really good. And here they come. I should probably be doing the game report. That'll tell us that. Look at all these sales. We blew past our last sales. It's selling at rank 32 the third week. Catch the first couple. I also pulled away from the mic. Hopefully that was loud enough. Sports and action is a great combination. World design is not important. We kind of know that. Graphics are very important for this type of game. Of course they are. Our little blobs running around on our monochrome black and green screen. Ooh, an evento. And here's what it does. It basically follows the development of computer, or not computer, just gaming. And they do very clever, and by that I'm being completely sarcastic. Not clever at all, kind of plays off of the names. They actually kind of make you groan sometimes. Ninvento, Dinky King, just not very clever. But then again, I named my company, I don't remember what I named my company, but that wasn't very clever either. So, consoles never take off, especially the Ninvento. You know that. Okay. Let's see what research options are available for us. Romance unlocked. Romance action game? Could it be? The funny thing is, the second playthrough, I want to specialize as the romance sim company because I never actually really played them, but I've read about a couple, some Japanese ones, and they sounded just hilarious. Let's just research romance. But it didn't unlock. It was the last thing that unlocked. And I did simulations in every other genre and topic. Okay, so we've researched romance. I probably should be saving research points for my new engines are very important. Let's develop a new game. Okay, so our topic, we're going to try a romance action game for the G64 because it's still popular. And what are we going to call it? I'm going to call it Kiss Ass. Because that just sounds like a great game name. Okay, 2D graphics again. And see, this is going to be the thing. When you focus on one genre, one type of game, like action sim, you almost never touch the sliders. Which, if I read correctly on the little bit I read on the wiki, will actually mean that you'll start getting great scores based on kind of how this game computes scores. But that gets kind of boring too. So maybe we won't stick with action games. But it does make it very easy to be a specialist. And it's a great way to just do very, very well. Whips is off the market. It's sold 22,000, generating quite a lot in sales, actually. We're doing good here in our little basement. It just costs us 8,000, I think, per month right now to live. Level design might be more important than artificial intelligence. We haven't got that in the research yet. And even by just touching these, I think I'm going to make a worse game. But let's try focusing instead on level design. What is level design, right? Ooh, they're almost going to come out. And another bad thing is you can't develop for something until it comes out. At least on the first consoles. Kind of stopped developing for consoles because they cost a lot for the license. And as a kid, I mean, this fits my life perfectly. I came a video game age right when the Nintendo came out. I got one of the first Nintendos. We're gonna leave this at that. I think I got one in '85 or whenever it was released in North America. Mario obviously came with it, and then I got Zelda when it first came out too for Christmas. It was amazing. My parents like had to drive all over to find it. Back in the day where you can just buy something on eBay, you actually had to find it in the store. And I really appreciate them for that. Mom, Dad, I love you. Okay, so, little immersion breaking. Hey, we made the game that you're playing to make games, and we thank you. And you know what? You're welcome. I do rock. Okay. Luckily, you can click and get through past the stuff, but a lot of the stuff, I wish you could turn off some of the stuff. Okay, we finished making it. I love another point design. Can we just squeeze out a design point? Maybe? Drake? No? Okay, let's finish this. Yeah, 8K monthly cost just to live. New topic, new combo. You want to do a lot of that. We leveled up gameplay. We can do level 2 on our gameplay now. Design level 2, and that's why it's good to specialize, because then you can really bump up the stuff that matters. But you can be a jack of all trades in this game. We'll release our game, and we'll quickly do. Oh no, I'm clicked too fast. Usually have to wait for the reviews to come in before you do the other. Ooh, ouch. Yeah, so like I said, maybe just touching that slider ruined it, even if it was a better idea. But you know what? Hey, we're gonna release some garbage here. And okay, close, and let's generate our game report. Select, and you know, I don't really know how long to go. Maybe we put a cut in here. I'll keep playing and upload a bunch probably together. But I don't even know how long YouTube's going to let me go. So 22 minutes might be too much. All right, see you guys later. Bye.